All right, final audio test. Final audio test. One more audio check.
Good evening. This is our 5-minute warning. If I could get the candidates to please make their way to the table. We'll do a excruciatingly brief briefing at the table for our candidates, and then we'll get started right at 7 o'clock. I adjusted it myself, but yeah.
Did it stay? Here.
Yeah, let's see. Justin. Yeah, it's. I can see it from. Yeah, where I stand. I can see what I'm standing. All right, we are in fact 1 minute early. All right, that's what I thought too. I was going to say, does anybody object? It sounds like nobody does object. So, good evening. Welcome to the Town Council Forum. Before we begin this evening's Council Forum, we want to acknowledge that we are on the traditional territories of the Indigenous peoples of Treaty 7 and the Otay-Pimasiwak Métis Government, District 4. We respect the histories, language, and culture of First Nations, Métis, Inuit, and all First Peoples of Canada, whose presence continues to enrich our community. We are grateful to live, work, and gather on these lands and recognize the enduring relationship Indigenous peoples have with them. My name is Bob Rogers. It's my privilege to be your moderator. This is the third time, or possibly fourth, that I've been doing this job, and it's I always am honored that I keep being asked to come back. I am an Airdrie resident, but I have spent almost half of my career working in Crossfield. I was a teacher at W.G. Murdoch for 6 years. I think I've seen quite a number of former students in the room, and more recently was the principal of Crossfield Elementary School for another 6 years, and I'm currently the secretary of the Crossfield Legion. As an educator, I taught social studies for many years, and the democratic process is very important. It's a critical part of our society. last time we had one of these, everybody was acclaimed. So we had excellent candidates, but it's not a full enriching experience of the democratic process, unlike today. So today we have 11 candidates, and we'd like to thank you all for putting your names forward. It's a bit of a thankless job to run for office and indeed to hold office, and so from the outset, I would like to thank each and every one of you for putting your name forward and taking on this responsibility. So let's acknowledge our candidates, please. So I'd like to introduce each of the candidates. Their names are also in front of you. So going from my right, your left, to the other side, we have, I'll tell you what, with 11 people, what we'll do is this way. I'll say the name, we'll give them, instead of a full round of applause for each person, we'll do the one clap, like that. Let's all try it together. Awesome. So we have Craig Benson. Awesome. Luke Brennan. Logan Kosh. Brian Grebe. Justin Gustafson. Lloyd Jesse. Michael Knight. Don Nelson. Sean Vang. Matthew Walke. And Chantel Whitford. All right, and now we'll applaud for them all. All right. And I'm thinking that the list I have in front of me doesn't quite match the order you're sitting in. Okay, that's what I thought. All right, so I'll deal with that momentarily. Okay, so the forum is scheduled for 2 hours, allowing time for introductions and question and answer period. Depending on the number of questions received, the event may conclude before the 2 hours, but I've looked in the box. We will go the full 2 hours. Okay. The forum is being streamed virtually by electronic means through the town's YouTube page. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes to introduce themselves and share their platform at the podium. Following this, each candidate will have 1 minute to answer or rebut a question. So the question will be asked. We're going to start on my right, and then each person moving down the table will have 1 minute to answer the question. Everybody will answer the same question. So we're going to start with you, Craig, answering first opportunity to answer the first question. Then the second question, Sean, you will answer first, and then Logan, and all the way down. Each person will get a chance to answer first. If we do more than 11 questions, we'll then reverse it on the way back. We probably won't do more than 11 questions. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes for final remarks. There will be no open mic. Questions will be moderator-led, including those submitted in advance by electors and written questions from those of you in attendance. The moderator has discretion in selecting questions to read, and please note that due to time constraints and the number of questions, not all questions may be addressed. All right. With that, I'm very happy that we can begin our evening. Our first council candidate who will be addressing you is Craig Benson. Craig.
Thank you. My name is Craig Benson. I decided to run for council for the first time because I feel strong leadership can make a difference. My education is in business, and I worked for Federated Co-op Limited and retail co-ops in Alberta, BC, and Saskatchewan for over 35 years. During that time, I worked with management, board of directors, co-op members, and government staff. My last position as the operations manager, I had over 250 employees from all walks of life and reported monthly on the operations to the board of directors. I worked in the following areas: daily operations, procurement, projects, subdivisions, acquisitions, mergers, security, conferences, buying shows, and human resources. At FCL, our goal was to ensure retails were successful now and into the future. Crossfield faces many of the same issues that I've seen in these businesses. The resources are limited and expenses continue to rise over time. There are safety-related issues around the schools, parks, and pathways. Some of these issues have been outstanding since we moved here over 30 years ago. Plans should be put in place to deal with them in the short and long term. In business, expense control has to be one of the cornerstones of any operation. Spending big and small must be very strategic and create lasting value. This is why you need to rank assets and prioritize what is critical to Crossfield's operation to ensure funding is in place. My focus would be the voice of fiscal management to ensure our taxes remain affordable. while allowing some sustainable development with minimal impact on the residents and correcting many of the outstanding irritants. And of course, with a focus on the safety-related items. Thank you.
Our second speaker is Sean Vang.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Sean Vang, and I have had the privilege of serving as one of your Crossfield Town councillors for the past 4 years. Crossfield has been my lifelong home. I went to school here, I have worked here, I have roots here. Many of you may know my late mother, Sylvia, who gave much love to the community. That same spirit is what led to my service, is what led to me to spend decades with Crossfield Fire Department, finishing my time as captain. And it was what inspired me to run on council. On council, I have served on the Annexation Ad Hoc Board, the Emergency Management Committee, Investment Committee, and committee for each of these roles. This has been about making sure our community is prepared financially, responsible, and able to grow wisely. Crossfield is at a turning point, and we are balancing growth and small town character. We all value. That means planning responsibly for future, for infrastructure, supporting local businesses, investing in recreation and green spaces, ensuring that our residents have services they need. I believe my experience on council and as a lifelong community member equips me to continue doing this work. My priorities will be keeping Crossfield financially strong and accountable, supporting public safety and emergency preparedness, advocating for smart community growth that balances development with community service. And I'll close on that note. Thank you very much.
Our third speaker will be Logan Kosh.
Hello everyone, my name is Logan Kosh and I'd like to thank you all for attending tonight. Me and my wife moved to Crossfield in 2013, so we've been here 12 years. I was raised in a very small town and always knew that a small town was where I wanted to start and raise a family. I love living in Crossfield and will always enjoy small town living. I have 2 kids, ages 4 and 8, and we are constantly enrolled in many of the sports leagues our town has to offer. During the summer, we spend many hours at the soccer fields, and in the winters, we spend it at the rink hockey. We are deeply rooted in the community and plan to keep it that way. In the past, I have worked on everything from automobiles, oil field, machining, manufacturing, maintenance, and management. This has given me a relatively unique background in creative problem solving and just getting things done. I run a small business out of my home, manufacturing cookware, and this gives me the ability to set my own schedule and drop whatever it is I'm doing to be available. This flexibility in time is something I'd like to offer up to help benefit the community. I've heard it said before that there are people who need help and there are helpers. I try my hardest to be a helper. I'm not running for council out of anger or frustration. I don't have an agenda. I'm running because I'd like to help Crossfield continue to thrive and be a place we can all be proud of. My top priorities will be to help ensure our community grows at a reasonable rate and that the infrastructure and amenities are improved along with it, not as an afterthought. As a father of 2, I know how important it is to have spaces and activities for children both inside organized sports and outside of them. I'd like to be part of helping our community develop more areas and activities for kids both within the constantly growing demand for organized sports as well as the publicly available sporting areas like our tennis and basketball courts. Fiscally, I think it's important to run a balanced budget and spend responsibly. I may not have as much experience as some of the people on this panel when it comes to governance, but I do feel like I can properly represent the people of this town and understand the needs of the people and the businesses within it. Thank you.
Our next speaker, Chantel Whitford.
Is this thing on? All right, good evening, everybody. Some of you might recognize me, but my name is Chantel Whitford. I'm proud to be running for a seat in our local municipal election. I'd just like to begin by acknowledging my fellow nominees. It takes a lot of courage and commitment to step forward in service of our community, and together we set an example of what it means to build strong, connected towns. I have called Crossfield home for the past 20 years. I have 2 children, 11 and 14, and they're proud fourth generation Crossfieldians. My vision is to preserve the charm and close-knit spirit of small town living, while also planning for responsible growth that keeps Crossfield safe, vibrant, and welcoming for families, seniors, and future generations. One of my passions is supporting the youth. I want to encourage young people to get involved and volunteer and develop a pride in the place that they call home. A strong future starts with embracing the next generation to be active in their community. With a background in healthcare and social work, I've learned the true value of listening, integrity, and work ethic and being an ally for the community are principles I would carry into council. I am a practical problem solver who values teamwork to reach the best outcomes for our residents. So above all, I want to be a voice for the people of Crossfield, young and old. I believe in honest, respectful conversations that bring us closer together and keep us moving forward. So together we can continue building Crossfield and make it somewhere we're proud to come home to.
Our next speaker, Justin Gustafson.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers, for coming tonight. We really appreciate you spending your evening with us. Glasses for the old people, I guess. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for attending tonight. I'll be beginning to introduce myself for people that don't know me already, and providing some background about myself. My name is Justin Gustafson. I'm a resident of Crossfield, and I moved to Crossfield to pursue an employment opportunity about 23 years ago. We started up a business here in Crossfield, and I ran it for quite a while, and then sold out. By starting up that business, it equipped me with a bunch of skills that are relevant to being a member of council, such as flexibility, fairness, effective listening to customers and stakeholders. Reviewing all information before deciding is also important, both in business and council contexts. Since relocating to Crossfield in July of 2004, my family and I have established connections within the community. We have had many positive experiences living here and hope these opportunities remain available for others that reside here and want to come and live in Crossfield. Community involvement has motivated me to join council. I participated in various volunteer activities, including sports teams, fundraising for facilities, and school clubs. As everybody probably knows, I'm in the local service club, the Elks. I am the past president, and I had been a member for, I think, 14 years now. Love the volunteering part. I think it's so important for everybody to volunteer in our community. Volunteer groups can contribute significantly to the quality of life of Crossfield, and participate in volunteering is encouraged. I think my time is up. I didn't think that 2 minutes was quick enough, but anyways, thank you for your time, and thank you for coming tonight.
Our next speaker, Brian Grebe.
Evening, residents of Crossfield. My name is Brian Grebe. I have lived in this area for many years. My parents lived in town for 20 plus years. I have other family members that live in town as well, and I also work in town. I am here to give back to the community that my wife and I love so much. We are dog owners as well as animal lovers. I would like to see if we could get more entertainment for kids and see if we could get more small businesses to come to our town. Would love to hear from you so we can move ahead. The Grebe family loves Crossfield and would like to see it grow. Thank you.
Our next speaker, Don Nelson.
Hi, my name is Dawn Nielsen. I am currently employed for Alberta Health Services at the Didsbury Hospital. My husband and I moved to town in 2006 when my daughter was 5 and my son was just 2. I loved raising my children in this young, thriving, diverse community. There were plenty of young families with the same values and goals. I'll probably be the only candidate here tonight who will openly admit that I have no professional accolades or leadership qualities on my resume. To quote Liam Neeson, but what I do have are a very particular set of skills that I have acquired over a very long period of time. Just kidding, I have no skills for town council, but what I do bring is time, commitment, and fresh ideas. I have lived in town long enough to have been through plenty of changes in Crossfield. I've seen many businesses come and go. I once did tell a friend, Crossfield is where businesses come to die. Why was that? We didn't have the population to sustain businesses. And so we are so close to Airdrie that you can just run into Airdrie and get all your errands done in one fell swoop. But now we have sustained a 25% increase in our population over just the last 10 years. And we have an amazing array of small local businesses that are thriving. If elected, I will work with my fellow town councillors to make sure that we plan and advocate for more development of commercial retail spaces so that small businesses can grow and survive in our community. But with our population surge, there are certain issues that have come to light. The main three-way stop intersection of town is a growing problem. We have all noticed the close calls there, and although there has not been an uptick of increased accidents there, it will become a major safety issue. It is my hope that we can work together to lobby for changes to that intersection that will make it safer and more logical for everyone commuting to work and school. I recognize that such a project will be complex and costly, but it requires forward thinking and strategic planning as our community expands. I look forward to answering your questions this evening and to expand on my ideas and plans to continue to make Crossfield a great place to live. Thank you.
And Lloyd Jesse.
Good evening, fellow contestants, and good evening to the attendants here. My name is Lloyd Jesse, and I'm seeking a position here as councillor. Unlike everybody else, I was just helicoptered in, so I'm only here for a year. So I don't have a lot of contribution in my baggage. So I'd like to start with that is I grew up in a small family farm in southern Saskatchewan, graduated high school and went to Syast and Moose Jaw. Graduated from Civil Engineering Tech in 1970. I was hired on by Saskatchewan Mineral Resources, monitoring downhole pressures. In 1973, I was hired by Imperial Oil as a field operator, working areas of Elida, Smiley, Kindersley, before leaving for Calgary in 1976. While in Calgary, I optimized field production by flying into Fort St. John, Zama City, and Rainbow Lake. In 1980, we moved to Red Deer, optimizing field operations in that area. I later went to Norman Wells, where I supervised the indigenous service rigs on the islands of the Mackenzie River. Oil price collapsed in 1987 and everything was shut down then. In 1990, I moved to Medicine Hat to consolidate field operations there until the IOL, Imperial Oil office closed then, shortly after that. I started up my own consulting reclamation company that reclaims well sites that are abandoned and need to be brought back to health. In 2024, we left the farm to look for a home, ending up in Crossfield. And we've really enjoyed being here for the short time that we have been here. Thank you. And I just want to say, I acknowledge my wife is sitting here in the group, and I have a son in Medicine Hat yet, and a daughter in Brooks, and a daughter in Airdrie. And that was one of the reasons why we came in this area here. And we got 5 grandchildren. My platform is greater communications venues. Okay. I would try to endorse greater transparency, and I'm basing my platform on honestly and truthful collaboration. Thank you.
Luke Brennan.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Luke Brennan. My parents moved here 23 years ago, and I'm 23 now, so to say that Crossfield is home at this point would be an understatement. Over the last 2 decades of living here, you could say this town and I have become pretty well acquainted. I went through all 12 years of school in Crossfield. I got my first job in town at the local hardware store until they closed down, which forced me into early retirement. From there, that job transformed into a carpentry apprenticeship with a great local contractor. After parting ways with them, I started my own business doing work around the community. You may have seen a couple of my signs up. On the side, I've been known to help out volunteering at the fire department to help build their training grounds and for the Rodeo Society, to name a few. During the last 4 years on council, I was a part of some big decisions, such as the purchase of a new fire truck for our volunteer hall, the construction of a bike skills pump track for the young folks in town, and a midterm wastewater solution for our growing community. In that time, it has been an honor to serve Crossfield as a councillor for the last 4 years. And over the course of that time, I made decisions based on a few guiding principles. How do we make the greatest positive impact for the near and distant future while keeping taxpayers in mind by keeping expenses as low as possible? Essentially, how do we get the best bang for our buck? There's lots of positive things about this community, and this town is obviously growing very fast. We can't stop that change, but what we can do is be there to help shape it into something we can be proud of. When I joined council 4 years ago, I went in with the same mindset that I carry today. I want to have a hand in the way our town grows so that I can help preserve those things that make it our home. I'm asking you to trust me with your vote so I can continue to put Crossfield first always. That's it.
Our next speaker is Michael Knight.
Hi everyone, I'm Michael Knight. What makes a good council, I've been asked? Well, I think it's when knowledgeable previous councillors listen to residents, get re-elected, and new councillors are elected with different ideas, concerns, and they work together for the best of the town. Why I'm asking for your vote? I'm currently the chair of the Mountain View Water Commission, which is pretty critical to the town. I'd like to push forward the changes we're making to maintain sustainable, affordable water. Past council started work on town-owned land, what can be used for, what we could sell, what we can attainable land. conversations of a campground, field house, more fields for soccer, baseball, lacrosse. All things talked about in the 5-year capital budget, but they need pushed through into action. The rezoning of the land recently on the 2A and Western Drive is exciting, but we need more business growth in addition to that. Same with small business. This current council has been working with the government on brownfield sites downtown. That's got to continue, and we got to get downtown bigger, brighter, better. I keep hearing buzzwords about the budget and higher taxes in our town. If you haven't spoken to me already, reach out. I'm pretty accessible. Crossfield sits as the 3rd lowest mill rate in any town at 1,000 to 1,499 people, or 14,999 at 5.26. There's been numerous bylaws, area structure plans reviewed, updated, but there's still more work to do. There's key things to keep developers accountable. A better off-site levy policy is something that should be reviewed as costs have massively increased, and I think developers need to be paying their share of expenses. An increase in bylaw would be efficient too. It'd help with developers. It'd help with some of the theft. It would help with safety, a lot of things. I think we can improve our snow removal process. We need to push for more funding from the government. The upcoming wastewater problem we have, it's going to be massive. There's need to be serious thought behind that. I've kind of made some points on the last council meeting. Advocating for something senior-wise in town, I've talked about that. We got to push harder with seniors and lodges. Just availability for people to get into some single-level houses around here. So that's kind of the first speech. I'll wrap up more with my closing. Thanks, everyone.
And our final speaker for this round is Matthew Walkie.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here. My name is Matthew Walkie, and I'm proud to call Crossfield home. Since moving here with my wife of over 25 years, we've raised our 2 daughters and grown to truly appreciate the warmth, character, and neighbourly spirit that make this community so special. With over 20 years of leadership in financial management and home health care, I've learned that true leadership is about service, listening, making thoughtful decisions, and putting people first. These are the same values I practice as an active member of the Crossfield Masonic Lodge and as a Shriner, where community and involvement are serviced at the heart of everything I do. I believe supporting our youth is key to keeping Crossfield strong. That means creating more local activities and recreation options so kids and teenagers have things to do close to home, giving them a voice in town projects, or even forming a youth council, encouraging businesses to offer part-time jobs or mentorship opportunities, and providing safe spaces and events where young people can grow and feel pride in our community. When we invest in our youth, we invest in our future. By serving on town council, I want it to continue to be a place where families thrive, businesses grow, and residents feel connected and supported. But I also want to share the main reason why I am running. Over the last 4 years, communication has been poor, and participation from our residents has been far too low. Just last night, only 5% of our town was engaged in the Mayor's Forum, whether in person or watching online. This has to change. Crossfield deserves open and honest communication and more opportunities for every resident to take part in shaping our future. If elected, I will work hard to make sure your voices are heard and to bring more of our community into conversation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your introductory remarks. We're now going to move to the question and answer session. Now, as I described earlier, I'm going to start with Craig. Each speaker will get 1 minute to answer each question. Everybody can answer every question. Now, rather than me saying your names and passing it on, I'll just, when you finished your remarks, please pass your microphone to the person on the left. And I think there's a microphone for each pair of people. So we'll just move down the table as each person's finished. If you go beyond the 1 minute, I might come over and tap you on the shoulder, but will be great. Okay, so with that, your first question, and I'll read the first time, I'll read it twice. So Craig, if elected, how will you work with other council members on complex issues when you may have opposing opinions? Again, if elected, how will you work with other council members on complex issues when you may have opposing opinions?
Thanks. Actually, opposing opinions are really good because that gives you another person's perspective, and you're never going to end up on exactly what you started. Like the conversing back and forth often results in a much better solution at the end. So the more people that talk, the more input you have. Like it's not always the first idea that you have or the first plan that you land on. It's actually kind of the combination, all the interaction and communication between the people, and that's what results in a much better result.
John, do you want the question again? Yes, please. Okay. So the question was, if elected, how will you work with other council members on complex issues when you may have opposing opinions?
Well, that's a good question. I believe that open debate and being, what shall I say, trying to convince or put my point of view across so that I can make them see where I'm coming from and I agree on the facts of what's at hand and try to convince them that my point of view is best for what would be the solution.
Thank you, Sean. All right. Logan, do you want the question?
Nope. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I think if you have opposing opinions on something, you just need to be polite and understanding and respectful to each other. Just because they have a different opinion doesn't mean it's wrong. In fact, it could be probably better than yours, potentially. What's important is working together to sort it out and to make the best decision for the town.
Thank you. Chantal? I can read the question. Yeah. If elected, how will you work with other council members on complex issues when you may have opposing opinions?
Hello?
There you go.
I think that we always encounter people with different opinions daily. So just, it's our responsibility to work respectfully and listen, not just to react, but to actually listen to what somebody's saying. Complex issues, they rarely have simple answers. So I think just focusing on the bigger picture to get a positive result is the best way.
Thank you. Justin, do you want the question?
No, I'm fine,
Okay.
Mr. Rogers. I think, well, in current council right now, what we ask for is all of the facts to be brought forward from administration. When we get all the information, it usually leads to great, respectful and positive debate. And even that we differ on opinions, usually the correct path going forward on an issue usually comes to light very quickly.
Thank you.
I would say with that, we should respect each other with honesty and everything. And it's like Justin said, let's get the facts out there, and then hopefully we can all make a decision and we can move on together and go from there.
You bet, Don. If elected, how will you work with other council members on complex issues when you may have opposing opinions?
I believe everyone is different. Everyone always has a different opinion. As long as you have respectful discord and you're willing to listen to everyone's opinion, if you have open debate and you're willing to compromise for the good of the community, the whole, I'm sure that you could come up with a unified approach to have solutions with a unified approach.
Thank you, Don. Lloyd, would you like to question?
No, that's good, thanks.
Okay.
I guess my belief is that we'd make sure that the information that we have is from reliable sources. And it's correct, and before we make a decision. And respect and hear the points from others, and listen before you speak.
Thank you. Luke, would you like to question?
Sure.
Okay. So if elected, How will you work with other council members on complex issues when you may have opposing opinions?
I think firstly, I suppose we have to understand that everyone on council all wants the best for Crossfield in the end anyway. Communication is key, but so is listening. I believe in hearing both sides to see if something they say may change my opinion. Hopefully, at the end, we'll end up making the right choice for Crossfield. I think the reason that there's so many different members on council in the first place is so that you can get those different perspectives. And hearing those out and just being respectful for those opinions is kind of the only way forward, in my opinion.
Thank you. Michael, do you want the question?
No, I'm good, thanks. As a married person, listening and hearing are two different things. So I think you got to consider the facts, their points, think before you actually communicate the ideas. I think my past history's spoken for itself. Debates and opposing ideas are fantastic. They're good for the town. They're good for the council. It actually keeps new ideas flowing. I think that I've voted against quite a few motions, and what you have to do from that situation is you have to learn if you've failed on your opportunity of how you tried to sell your point. You got to jump on the horse with the rest of the team and find a way to move forward. I think that's a key thing. That's probably the biggest differentiator councillors will have is people have different points. They'll get to a motion. People will leave. You just have to know that once you've left that meeting, you agree upon as a council, you move forward, you listen to the ideas better, and you just move forward for the best of the town.
Thank you. Matthew, do you want the question?
No, I'm good. I think first off, always remember you're a team. Make sure it's a fair debate. Everyone has to have input. Have we the right information to base a decision on? Voice differences. You might even change your mind if you hear different differences. Listen to each other. Keep it respectful. But always remember we have to have the best interests for Crossfield in the back of our mind.
Very good. Thank you all. That's the end of our first question. So for the second question, Sean, we will start with you. And your question, this one's got quite a number of words in it, so I'm going to repeat it twice again. In an age of rising cost, what plans will you put in place to ensure the town's taxes are kept as affordable as possible? How much of an increase annually do you think is achievable, and what area would you focus on? Again, in an age of rising cost, what plans will you put in place to ensure the town's taxes are kept as affordable as possible? How much of an increase annually do you think is achievable, and what area would you focus on? Sean.
Well, right now, our biggest obstacle, in my opinion, is infrastructure. And a good one is the wastewater construction project that we're looking at. And how would I make it more affordable is by trying to get more government grants in and see what kind of options we can get put on the table to help reduce taxes. But personally, I can't say that I can reduce taxes, but council works as a team, and I believe as a team we would find the proper way to go about reducing taxes.
Thank you, Sean. Logan, same question. Do you want the question repeated?
Yes, please.
In an age of rising cost, what plans will you put in place to ensure the town's taxes are kept as affordable as possible? How much of an increase do you think is achievable annually, and what area would you focus on?
I think we can't control everything getting more expensive, inflation, things are just going up. What is important is getting value for dollar, making sure that the money we do spend is spent with value and getting the most out of it. As far as taxes, I think the smallest increase within reason to still get stuff done, at least the mandatory stuff. And I think as far as controlling that, you focus on the needs for infrastructure first, and then with the remainder, you go on from there with wants after needs. Thank you.
Thank you, Logan. Chantel, would you like the question? In an age of rising cost, what plans will you put in place to ensure the town's taxes are kept as affordable as possible? How much of an increase annually do you think is achievable, and what area would you focus on?
As somebody that's just new to the council, I did look over the budget and it was laid out pretty clear for us. But I think working together with the council members and listening to what the residents say, I don't think growth should come at the expense of safety or quality. So I can't speak on what I would do to change or stop tax increase, because I just think that's part of living in a town. If you want things, you have to spend money. But yeah, just listening to people and getting their feedback and maybe, I don't know, advocating a little more for less taxes. I'm not too sure about that one yet.
Thank you, Chantel. Justin, would you like the question?
Well, I think we've already kind of put plans in place on, curbing these. Well, you can't curb the rising costs, but you can treat the money that we do spend like it's our own. We direct administration to do that, to treat it like its own, and understand that our stakeholders, our residents, our friends, that's their hard-earned money that they're putting towards improving this town, and that we do it wisely. Come up with efficiencies on how we treat projects and reduce any waste we can.
Thank you, Justin. Brian, would you like the question again?
Please.
In an age of rising cost, what plans will you put in place to ensure the town's taxes are kept as affordable as possible? How much of an increase annually do you think is achievable, and what area would you focus on?
Well, like everyone said, I mean, rising costs come. We can't really do much about it. But like Chantel said as well, I am new to this as well, so I don't know how to answer your questions, but I would say we could work with government to get grants. We could also talk to the residents of Crossfield and see what they would like, or at least where they would like to be. And hopefully we can keep the costs down to a minimum so that it's fair to everyone.
Thank you, Brian. Dawn, would you like the question? Yes, please. In an age of rising cost, what plans will you put in place to ensure the town's taxes are kept as affordable as possible? How much of an increase annually do you think is achievable, and what area would you focus on?
No one wants taxes to rise. I don't want taxes to rise, but unfortunately, this is how it is in our world today. You have to work with the town administration. You have to get the right people, the experts, to tell you, like you have to budget, and you have to get the experts to tell you, well, this is gonna break down. It's just like you have to plan for your Mexico vacation or your hot water tank. If your hot water tank goes kaboom, then you gotta plan for that. So you need the experts to help you plan for what's gonna break and when we can have fun. So we don't want taxes to rise, but it's inevitable. And we're gonna do what we can to avoid as much tax rise as we can.
Thank you, Don. Lloyd, would you like the question repeated?
I'm fine. Okay. Revenue is based on new development, of course. That's pretty much where the revenue comes in for the town. And it's got to be treated like a business. If you can't run your business properly, it's going to fail, eh? And it's as simple as that. And I strongly encourage quotes for services that are rendered so that we get the best value for the dollar. And we got to screen the people that you're hiring to make sure that they have performance in the line of work that they're doing. Eh? It's simple as that.
Thank you, Lloyd. Luke, would you like the question repeated?
Please.
In an age of rising cost, what plans will you put in place to ensure the town's taxes are kept as affordable as possible? How much of an increase annually do you think is achievable, and what area would you focus on?
Well, I mean, infrastructure obviously is a huge responsibility of the town. Planning ahead for those projects is paramount. As far as increases, trying to keep up with inflation and continuing to provide the services we already offer while not falling behind and having to play catch up later. So essentially moderate increases consistently so that we're not caught trying to play catch up later. I think that's it for me right now.
Okay. Thank you, Luke. Michael, would you like the question?
Nope, I'm good, thanks.
Okay.
Taxes are a big thing. I know it's the number one thing everyone thinks about and talks about this time of year, but they're impacted by mill rates. Mill rates also are impacted by assessment values. Council's been able to maintain a low mill rate because of the rate of increased assessed values. It's pretty massive. It's the left and the right side of this situation. Remember, council doesn't control the assessed values. We're also aware it brings in a higher revenue stream. As things are out of control in cost, I think the administration staff has been doing a fantastic job trying to get as many costs down to a limited amount of price. I also really firmly believe that the franchise taxes cannot go up because that's a massive one. I don't like the tax. I understand why it's there, but I don't like it. We can't control the provincial school tax. We can't control the seniors foundation tax. Those are out of our hands. They kind of just get stuck in our lap. Nobody likes it, but it's where it is. Current budgets have been fantastically advertised. I think the last 2 years that the admin teams were bringing budgets, they've been great. If you go and look at them from 4 years ago to 2 years ago, night and day different. It's fantastic. I think we need to understand what the residents really want to know, what they want to add on, because to add on assets and projects, it's going to be impactful. So,
Thank you, Michael. Matthew would like the question.
Thanks, Mike. I'll try and make it a bit more sort of normal. Crossfield families are already feeling the strain of higher costs, so raising taxes should be the last resort. Let's focus on prioritising projects, addressing pressing needs first, pursuing government grants and partnerships to reduce the financial burden. Hold developers accountable. Growth should be paying for growth. Taxpayers are not footing the bill for the infrastructure. And let's keep auditing the spending and always look at cheaper, more financially options.
Thank you, Matthew. And Craig, back to you for the final speaker for this question.
Yeah, thank you very much. Quite frankly, I lived this in the 80s when I worked for a company that was struggling, having financial issues. So the first thing they did, they made expense control the cornerstone of their business. And they looked at things. And when you say there is no expenses or they're controlling everything, that's just not true. There's always something you can do. You have to focus on the staff complement you have, and then making sure that the staff get their annual increases so that the staff are not penalized for the financial issues that there are there. And then you can look at things like capital expenditures on things to, like, do you need to lease a new tractor, or can this one last? Do you need to lease new pickup trucks? There's tons of things that can be done, and you have to make sure that you kind of look at this with a much more open and receptive kind of way, and then you'll find the things. So, quite honestly, you never know until you're pushed.
Thank you, Craig. Okay. We're going to move to our third question. And Logan, you get to address this one first. Before I read the question, just a note to all the panel members, if you could make sure the microphone's close to your mouth. For some of you, it's a little bit hard to hear. So just make sure your microphone is close to your mouth and we'll be able to hear you effectively. So Logan, you get the first crack at this next question, which is, what would be the most important change you would bring forward if elected? Again, what would be the most important change you would bring forward if elected?
I think I'd like to help create more business in this town. Encourage people to come here and do more business. Streamline the process of applying for business in this town. I know when I started my business it was intimidating, and it is for a lot of people. And I think there's business in this town that don't start up for those scary reasons. I think that bringing business to this town can be done from within this town, by the people in this town, as well as bringing in outside business. I think if we had more facilities, then we could have more places to rent, which would bring prices down on rent, and they wouldn't be so prohibitively expensive. Thank you.
Thank you, Logan. Chantal, would you like the question?
Sure.
What would be the most important change you would bring forward if elected?
I think that there's a lot of frustration with the newer communities. It would be nice to see the communities kind of stand alone, Vista, Iron Ridge. It would be nice to see if there was a spokesperson that could speak for the community, and then they could meet with the town. So there seems to be a lot of issues around that. So maybe just a little better communication with the issues that they're having instead of the forum where it's just an open, free for all. So I feel like that might be one issue that could be fixed.
Thank you, Chantal. Justin?
I love that, Chantal. Yeah. It's all good. I think the most important thing for me is safety around our community. And so policing and safety, I know that we're kind of well on our way with getting some things resolved, hiring a new peace officer, ensuring that our CMP are patrolling all the time. But I think, and talking to a lot of my friends and residents that live around me, that safety is key for them. So that would be the most important thing if I get elected.
Thank you, Justin. Brian, would you like to question?
Please.
What would be the most important change you would bring forward if elected?
I would say the most important part would be communication, and I would also say policing. And hopefully that would combat most of the problems. Still being new, some of these questions are a little harder for me to answer. But communication would be the factor for me.
Thank you, Brian. Dawn, what would be the most important change you would bring forward if elected?
I'm with Logan on the advocating for more business development. As I said before, I think a lot of businesses have a hard time staying in Crossfield. What we need to do is we need to look at our municipal development plans and our land use bylaws and try advocating or going through and advocating for redevelopment of the zoning for commercial areas. We just need more commercial areas that are zoned for that. The new East Area Development Plan actually is a great example of a new area that we could utilize for commercial spaces. So I think that's a good use, or that's a good goal to have.
Thank you, Dawn. Lloyd, would you like to question?
All right, I guess as a newcomer in the town here, I think what's really lacking, I think the residential side is taking care of itself. So the business side, I hear that over and over again. We need to focus on getting more business into place here. And the thing that struck me when I first drove into town here is that going down Railway Avenue doesn't really focus on, doesn't give me the feeling, a good feeling of being a prosperous location, because there, you know, it's got great welcoming, you know, and Christmas lights and everything is good. But there's a lot of vacant lots. I kind of feel there's vacant lots and there's buildings there that are not adequately used. So that's basically my take.
Thank you, Lloyd. Luke, what would be the most important change you would bring forward if elected?
I don't want your microphone. This one's been just sitting here. When I joined council, 4 years ago, it was with the knowledge that there's a lot of development going on in town. Like I said, I lived here my whole life. I wanted a hand in how that happened. I want to continue advocating for Crossfield to make our voice heard by developers and continue to facilitate good working relationships where the town and them can benefit. But obviously developers are businesses, they have to make their money, but not at the expense of Crossfield's reputation.
Thank you, Luke. Michael.
Oh, thanks there, Luke. Way to steal my thunder. I'm gonna elbow you there. I think the most important change, in my opinion, probably differs from what I'm hearing in my ears. What I'm hearing in my ears from the residents is it's the importance of working more with the developers. I think the council, the administration team, the developers have to get together a little more often. I think accountability on the developers. I think this isn't a blanket statement. I think we can do a better job as a group together. I think understanding the offsite levies on both sides of the board, how the developers see the offsite levies implications on their end as well as ours. I think infrastructure costs that are extremely rising on both sides are impactful, but I think getting in a room and hearing both sides of the developer side and the council side is probably important, and I think some potential partnership on recreational things, similar to what Dream did on the ODR, I think a few things like that. I think we have multiple opportunities to maybe engage a little more and learn from them and them learn from us.
Thank you, Michael. Matthew?
Mine is communication and transparency. Listening is only valuable if it leads to action. I would commit to reporting back to residents through newsletters, online updates, or being available every month at an accessible venue. Then I can know what issues have been raised and what steps we are going to do. The goal isn't just to communicate, but to close the loop so residents know they're being heard and to see results.
Thank you. And Craig, we come back to you on this side.
Okay, thank you very much. So my biggest thing would be safety. There's some safety issues around town that have been long-standing safety issues. On the north side of the school, there's two crosswalks there. One of them is got a raised crosswalk and no lights, and the other one is a crosswalk that ends up in a pathway through the houses that kids shoot out of there all the time. There's near misses there every week. That would be one of the first priorities, is the safety part of things. In addition to that, we have a fabulous network of paths, but very few of them are lit. The only ones that are lit are the ones on the north side along the railroad tracks. Really, it's a path to nowhere right now. So I think that's another thing. So in a northern climate, when it gets dark at night, you need some light along some of these things, and light at the dog park.
Thank you, Craig. And Sean, what would be the most important change you would bring forward if elected?
Good question. I would like to see sustainable growth both through residential and business. And to do that, it would not be easy, but trying to attract businesses isn't the problem. The problem is retaining them. A lot of the time is businesses will go out of business. Like before we have had the gym we have currently, we've had 3 startups for that. But because Airdrie is so close, people commute to Airdrie and they can use the facilities there, and they don't bother making use of what we have in town. So I'd like to try and promote that sort of thing for businesses more and make sure we can sustain them.
Thank you, Sean. Okay, we're going to move to our next question. And for this one, Chantel, you will have the first opportunity to answer. Okay. So this one actually has a note on it. It says, for current council. You'll all forgive me for not remembering exactly who's who. So if you are on the current council, the question is this. What have you done in your term to help small businesses in Crossfield? If you are not on the current council, your question is, what will you do in your term to help small businesses in Crossfield? So to combine them, what will you do to help small businesses in Crossfield? And Chantel, you have the first go at this question.
I think it's important to promote the small businesses because that's what keeps Crossfield growing. So maybe more promotion on local radios or just more word of mouth to get people involved and in the businesses. I think that's kind of all I got since I'm new to this.
Okay, thank you, Chantel. Justin.
As I am on current council, I'll answer it the best I can. And some of the things I'm trying to rack my brain about is I know that we've really encouraged the Chamber of Commerce to reach out and help all of the other businesses that are coming into town. Land use bylaws, encouraging some changes in the land use and allowing some different businesses to thrive in areas that they weren't be able to before.
Thank you, Justin. Brian, what will you do in your term to help small businesses in Crossfield?
To help small businesses in Crossfield, what I would do is probably shop there, tell others about it, and give them good recommendations if that's what they're providing for us. And hopefully that would help small businesses get another foot down and another dollar in their till.
Thank you, Brian. Don, what will you do in your term to help small businesses in Crossfield?
I'm with Brian on that one. I would shop there, and especially once you get more businesses, if I can do all my shopping in one place, I would much rather do that. Also, everyone knows that hiring local just makes sense. So if you give and take in communities, right? My kids worked at a local store here, so of course I'm going to shop here. So the community lets your kids work here, and then you use the stores that are in your community, of course. That's how it's gonna, we have to give and take with local businesses, and you have to stay in town. That's how businesses survive.
Thank you, Don. Lloyd.
I'm new at this in town here. I've got several businesses set up here, so I think what I could offer is mentor new businesses on startup. I could perhaps look at doing business luncheons, trying to set up new businesses to come in, share new ideas, network, and try and encourage people to shop local and communicate needs to reasons why they need to shop local is that if they end up not buying local, they'll end up having to go a distance to buy their goods. Thanks.
Thank you, Lloyd. Luke, what have you done in your term to help small businesses in Crossfield?
Yeah. Well, I'm a small business in town myself, ironically. So that hits near and dear. But we reviewed the signage policy or bylaw, I can't remember, to highlight local businesses on the side streets, trying to do a little bit better job of letting people know who's out there. Everything I can locally, I try and purchase in town or get anything I can done in town. Just trying to be an advocate for them in that small way. We also got the NRAD grant and completed some studies around town. Beyond that, it would just be continuing to complete and review our bylaws and policies around those topics to see if there's anything that we can update for small businesses.
Thank you, Luke. Michael.
As a current councillor, I can say that I think we engage with the chamber, maybe not enough, but I think the chamber is sort of a path that we've chosen to communicate through small business. I've attended some of those. Those have been some pretty good sessions. The NRAD grant, like we talked about, assisting small business with some IT technology, social media things that we kind of put together. That was a pretty good program, I thought, that was out there. We've been advocating for some increased commercial space out there, which has now kind of popped out into that new last rezoning off the 2-way and Western Drive, which is good. What other ideas would I do? I think potential of commercial spaces in our new developments, either talking to our developers and saying, hey, is there an opportunity where we could have a 3-level building where it's got residences above it and business on the bottom? I think the town should be totally advocating and trying to sell the low cost to be a business in our town, and our location is key on the highway.
Thank you, Michael. Matthew.
I think the first thing I'll do would be streamline permits and licensing. Let's make it faster, easier, less costly. Let's offer tax breaks. Let's provide support. Example, do they need help with Canada's small business funding? Let's build a supportive community. Launch shop local campaigns. Let's invest in the infrastructure. How about reliable broadband? Promote the town. Let's make Main Street a little more attractive. And I think finally, foster collaboration. Let's meet monthly with businesses and see how they're doing.
Thank you, Matthew. Craig, back to you.
Okay, so I think some of the things you could do is host a forum for all the businesses and invite people and advertise online, and then host and indicate what is available. I'll use an example of the marijuana grow-op, for lack of better words, on the south side by the rodeo grounds, is now a greenhouse. And their plans are to grow strawberries and different vegetables and that, and then sell them locally. So that's a pretty cool addition that I don't think a lot of people know about. I think then we could promote them locally. There's lots of places where you can have like these electoral signs, and you can allow them to be stuck a few strategic places on the boulevard, just so people driving by could look at them. And I think you could even feature a number of people per month, just kind of to show who's new in town and what's available. So I think there's also maybe opportunities for things on the forum and maybe other social media billboards.
Thank you, Craig. Sean, what have you done in your term to help small businesses in Crossfield?
Myself, I'm all for small business, and I always try and recommend them to whoever I come across to promote them myself. And the Chamber of Commerce has also been a really good tool to use, especially when it comes to like the golf tournament they have there every year. Is the businesses that get promoted through the Chamber of Commerce and how good of a job the Chamber does putting on events like that. And yeah.
Thank you, Sean. And Logan, what will you do in your term to help small businesses in Crossfield?
Yeah, so I already shop local. I get my dog food. I'm at Carmen's like every other day. Shorty. I work on my own car. I would approach the businesses independently and encourage them to approach me as well. I'm a pretty approachable guy. I think no one knows what these businesses need more than they do. And if there's something that council can do to help them, I'd encourage them to come forth and have a chat about it, or I can come to you, whatever it is. Thanks.
Thank you, Logan. Okay, we're now moving to our fourth question, and Justin, you get the first crack at this question. We have 11 candidates for 6 positions. What makes you stand out, and why would we vote for you? Again, we have 11 candidates for 6 positions. What makes you stand out, and why would we vote for you?
I think that's my closing.
I think it might be.
My closing remarks is basically what I'm going to say there. What makes me stand out is, and you know what, everybody's been talking about how much they care about the community, and I truly believe that they do, or else they wouldn't be up here. I do truly care about our community, our safety, the growth of our community, and you know, the passion that I have. I wouldn't be up here for, you know, the 3rd time now to stand in front of you and tell you how much I do care. I have quite a bit of experience now being on for 6 years on council, and knowing and understanding, you know, how the world works within council and administration. I think we've got to a point with the administration and our new CAO. My time is coming up, so I'll wrap this up, that I want to continue on and finish what we've started. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. Brian, what makes you stand out, and why would we vote for you?
I don't know how I can say how I stand out, but I do love this town. My parents loved it for 20 years. I've loved it for 5. I have a nephew that has a store in town. His name's Shorty. He definitely has the gift of the gab, and he also helps me understand a lot of the situations that Crossfield is facing. And I think I definitely have an open ear, and I have respect and honesty for everyone. So that would be my stand on things.
Thank you, Brian. Dawn, what makes you stand out, and why would we vote for you?
I don't know what makes me stand out either, honestly. But I do love Crossfield. We've lived here a lot, and I raised my kids here. And I think everybody wants what I wanted when I raised my kids here. We just want a safe, caring community with the supports that we need to raise our families, to live here. I am aware of the issues in town, and I have lived here a long time, and I care about this community. And I just feel like I would do a good job. I would listen to the residents. I would listen to you all and try to make the best decisions for everybody here, for us, for me.
Thank you, Don. Lloyd.
I also like Dawn here. I like the province. I like the small town atmosphere and the freedom that comes with a small town. People are more friendly here, and they're open to greeting each other on the street versus in the city. You don't see people hold their head up and say hello or anything like that. And here, you'll get neighbors that'll come by, and if they see your garage door open in the middle of the night in the middle of winter, they'll shut it for you, and they'll let you know. But that's basically, with my travel experience, and I've been around to a lot of centers, and I think I can bring some interest and new ideas to the town. And I enjoy working with people as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Lloyd. Luke, what makes you stand out, and why would we vote for you?
Well, 4 years experience now, the desire to just continue doing good work for Crossfield. I got the best shirt here. Have fresh perspective, young and ready to just keep working for this town. Like I say, it's been home for 2 decades now, and I'm ready to start, or ready to continue giving back. That's about it.
Thank you, Luke. Michael.
I'd say proven leadership, clear vision, committed to Crossfield. I pride myself with engaging with all the residents as much as I can. We may not all agree with each other all the time, but I'm kind and fair to listening to your ideas and your inputs. We can agree to disagree in a good, positive manner. Proven leadership on critical issues. Prepared, informed, accountable. I ask tough questions. I'm there for the residents mostly. I've got zero agenda. I'm engaged in the community. I'm focused on smart growth. I'm budget accountable, and I'm advocating for Crossfield's future. So,
thank you, Michael. Matthew.
I bring over 20 years of experience in finance and healthcare, experience in service through the Freemasons and Shriners, and a commitment to listening. In financial management, I learned how to make carefully balanced decisions with limited resources, skills that directly apply to managing a budget. My experience in home health care taught me the importance of listening to people's needs, especially when they're vulnerable, and finding solutions that put people first. Both roles required leadership rooted in service, which is exactly what I think I will bring to Crossfield Town Council. My goal is to serve people, not politics.
Thank you, Matthew. Craig.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I think my strong leadership is one of the things that I've done and gained over the years of managing businesses and working and with many different communities across Western Canada, really, and even some in the States. Like, you do get an experience and a flavor for what is good and what is maybe not so good. My business management also, I think, helps me get a different insight into how things work. And it's probably, like, I worked at a company that was nearly broke that kind of is now very prosperous. And I guess I feel this is my opportunity to give back to Crossfield. And we have lived here for over 30 years, raised our kids. And yeah, I think now's our time. Bye for now.
Thank you, Craig. Sean, what makes you stand out, and why would we vote for you?
Good question. Well, for one, I've lived in Crossfield since it was 900 people, and now we're almost to 5,000. So I think that gives me a unique perspective on the growth that the town has gone through, and I want to see that growth and the development done responsibly and sustainably, and I will hold the developers in that to account and just try to make the best decisions for the town so that it still has that small town feel it had when I was growing up.
Thank you, Sean. Logan, what makes you stand out, and why would we vote for you?
I also like living here, so that doesn't really make me stand out. But given my background in problem solving, being around equipment, working on all sorts of different stuff, I have a genuine interest in like the infrastructure, the expansion. I find it super interesting. The first time I heard about like the effluent problem, I spent 7 hours that night learning about effluent, sitting at home, and that's all I was doing. And I think it's just something I'd like to help guide the town in a positive direction with.
Thank you, Logan. And Chantel, what makes you stand out, and why would we vote for you?
That's a really great question. I've lived here for 20 years. I have 2 children. One is in the back supporting me. I bring a space of non-judgment. I'm an honest, open listener. I'm just here for the community. I love the safe, I love my kids. They can ride their bikes across town. If they crash, somebody can call me, oh, your son crashed on his bike. I might ignore that call because he's wild, but I'm just here for the town. I'm here for the people. I'm here for the kids. So that's what makes me stand out, and that's why I want to do it.
Thank you, Chantel. And we are moving to, this will be our 6th question. Okay, and for this one, Brian, you'll get to first crack at it. Just before I read the question, I just realized what's better here than in those, say, federal debates. You don't hear the word effluent in the federal debates. That's what's missing. Yeah, it's in my mind now. It's stuck there. Okay, Brian, you get first crack at this question. Okay, there have been complaints about snow removal. What do you think could be done better, and would this cost us taxpayers more money? Again, there have been complaints about snow removal. What do you think could be done better, and would this cost us as taxpayers more money?
I would say for snow removal, the biggest thing that most people probably have a problem with is their driveways. With the snow wind that they leave behind is sort of a pain in the arse for anyone to shovel when it's half melted and half frozen. I would try and change the plowing direction of that. As a cost, I don't know if that would increase or not. I would hope it wouldn't. But those 2 things are the only thing I can think of for snow removal.
Thank you, Brian. Dawn, there have been complaints about snow removal. What do you think could be done better, and would this cost us more money?
We all hate the snow, but as we all know, we live in southern Alberta, so sometimes we get snow, sometimes we don't, sometimes we get a Chinook, sometimes we don't. It is hard to control the snow. I don't think I would change the snow removal system. You'd have to predict the weather. You can't predict the weather. I think you'd have to play it by ear, and I wouldn't want to raise taxes. I wouldn't want to raise the budget for snow removal because one year we get a big dump of snow and one year we get Chinooks.
Thank you, Dawn. Lloyd.
Well, I can't answer that because I don't know what the real problem is. I don't know where the issue is with the cost or the problem with getting rid of the snow. I know the residents are getting smaller, the size of the lots are getting smaller, so there's going to be a little bit less area that you can dump your snow from your side onto the neighboring property. Aside from that, I really can't comment on that.
Okay, thank you, Lloyd. Luke, there have been complaints about snow removal. What do you think can be done better, and will this cost us more money?
Every time. Since I've been on council, I think this has been an issue we've been looking at almost from the start. I think it's our idea to tackle this one was to take stock and see what it costs for our own crews to do it versus how that would compare to subbing it out, seeing if that's an avenue to seek out, or potentially beefing up our equipment. starting earlier. There's a lot of different options. It's just finding the right one, talking with the different departments, seeing where their heads are at, potentially enforcing moving people's vehicles off the street so they can do their jobs, because I know there's a lot of stuff missed. It's just a big hassle for our crews. So if we don't end up subbing it out, we got to start looking at a few of those different things to try and make things more efficient.
Thank you, Luke. Michael.
Snow removal is one of the things that I've been talking to lots of residents about. Actually, it's one of the things that it's kind of on my platform I'm running on his. We've made some changes to snow removal. It's been okay. There's been some hours changes to the bylaws. You know, I guess it comes down to how efficient we are. Is it a salt versus a plow situation? There's lots of different ways. I think we've just done it for the same way for so long. I think we got to really push the envelope on what's out there, what's available. I know I asked back to council or the administration about, like, what's that blower rate an hour? Is that blower rate an hour cost the town? If that machine's worth $80,000 and that thing has an operator and is it $300 an hour with depreciation? What is it? If that device sits there doing nothing for 2 hours, maybe we had a couple rented trucks just to keep the snow moving in the whole time. If we clean the town up in 60% of the time, I got to think that that's a cost savings. We did talk also a bit about what that looks like from a contracted point of view. A contracted view would definitely get it done faster with a slightly more cost. It's things that, it's one of the best topics that I think the council can have. The sad part's going to be it won't be done when we get into council for this next year.
Thank you, Michael. Matthew.
Very new to me, so I'm not really that sure, but I'm sure it must come down to cost. Let's communicate the options to the people. I'm sure residents can then see the different financial options. Does the town own the crew? Do we go to private businesses? I think, as I said, the best thing is explaining what's happening.
Thank you, Matthew. And Craig, back to you.
Yeah, thank you. When we first moved here, there was no snow removal. And I remember trying to back out of the driveway one morning, and the snow was like 3 feet deep. And so then you had to shovel it yourself and get yourself out. So the snow removal has really improved. The school has to be the first priority always, just because the buses have to be able to drop the kids off safely. I think you can rotate the direction potentially after that to different communities so that nobody isn't always the last one. You can look at some contractors for some areas or hiring some trucks. And I think also posting signs accurately, that is a bit of an issue when they're going to do the snow removal.
Thank you, Craig. Sean, there's been complaints about snow removal. What could be done and would it cost more money?
That's another good question. And I agree, snow removal has been a problem off and on. It also depends on the amount of snow we get that year and all that. But with the current setup, with the snowblower, the attachment they have on the front of the front end lower, is to make it work properly and more efficiently, we would either need to contract out more dump trucks to be able to sit there and pick up the snow as the snowblower goes, and just not sit there idle. Another thing is to start earlier in the day so that you're not hitting rush hour traffic and having these windrows blocking traffic from getting in and out of town, which I know that's a big issue and can be a bone of contention with a lot of people. So if they're able to start their priority one routes earlier, then that makes it easier for people to get out and to go and commute.
Thank you, Sean. Logan, there have been complaints about snow removal. What do you think could be done better and would it cost more money?
I've heard of the problems in like Ross Place and some cul-de-sacs that have difficulties with snow removal. And if they don't get it out of there, it gets compact into ice and then they can't plow it regardless. I think the solution to that would be like either getting in there, reorganizing the priority of the route and getting in there earlier before people have driven all over it, or just getting, I'm sure the town owns a Bobcat. We can get in there and get it out of there in a small, tight space. Would it cost more? If Bobcat costs a little bit more, reorganizing might increase cost, but that's all the solutions I can think of.
Thank you. Chantel, there have been complaints about snow removal. What could be done better and would it cost more money?
I consider snow removal a blue job. So I think you guys that are on council did a really good job describing what you're doing now. But my issue is getting the kids to school and the big mounds in the middle of the road and trying to push your stroller if you have little kids. So I think just working on keeping the schools and the senior homes a priority. But I think the current council did a good job describing the problem, so.
Thank you, Chantel. And Justin.
I wish I was the first one on this one because I have a great solution. You know, we create a large dome over all of Crossfield, and everybody can live like they're living in Palm Desert. So we can idle more, get global warming to come in a little bit quicker, and then the snow will melt. Of course, that's not going to happen. We have done a lot in the last couple of years to make more efficiencies in removing the snow, whether it's adding equipment or changing the times, changing how businesses help us remove the snow from Main Street. Yeah, if you want it done quicker, it's going to cost more. Absolutely it will, but you have to be patient with our town operations. They are doing the best that they can with what we have, you know, whether it's equipment or personnel. I think we are doing a great job, and there's more efficiencies to come. So,
Thank you, Justin. Okay, this will bring us to our next question. And Dawn, you get to first go at answering this one. So, how will you ensure that recreational spaces, such as fields, gyms, and indoor spaces, keep pace with community growth so programs like youth soccer can continue to thrive? And I will read this again. How will you ensure that recreational spaces, such as fields, gyms, and indoor spaces, keep pace with community growth so programs like youth soccer can continue to thrive?
We have to follow the municipal development plan, and as our town grows, we will have to keep adding these spaces and updating these spaces. We need to ensure that we have enough of these spaces for our future growth and keeping in mind our community and its needs. We probably should have local forums for what people want, what people need, and then council has to go back and say, what can we afford, what can we do? But we always have to keep future spaces in mind for all of those activities.
Thank you, Don. Lloyd.
What I would do is to collaborate with other communities and find out what they're trying to install in their schools, in their rec areas, and trying to keep abreast of what's needed and what's actually required for their sites, and try and compare ours with those. Thanks.
Thank you, Lloyd. Luke. Sorry. Got the right microphone? Okay. I'm going to read the question. You can test your microphone in the meantime. Luke, how will you ensure that recreational spaces keep pace with community growth so programs like youth soccer can continue to thrive?
Thank you. Earlier in this term, we completed a recreational needs assessment, which gave us a pretty good idea of what the town felt like was important to them. From there, we kind of established a list of needs and wants, and we went from that point and we decided on some things that were kind of quick, actionable items, and then broke that down into some of the short-term things that we can get done quick, and then the long-term ones that we have to plan for. And I think what it all really comes down to is just partnering with local groups and careful budgeting and planning for the future so that we can keep up with that growth. Yeah, I don't know, it's just planning, hearing from the town.
Thank you, Luke. Michael.
I think it's continuous advocacy with Rocky View School Division, the indoor gym access. We've been trying this for a few years. I don't know. It's harder than it needs to be, but I think we need to keep kind of kicking, maybe more communication, more meetings with RVS. That'd be helpful. The new school that's on their schedule is like 2026, 2031, so we're not seeing an indoor gym again on that side for 5 to 8 years for sure. It's going to be a ways out, but it's exciting. That part's good. Adding more fields, kind of my platform too. We got to start looking at the land we owned. The new council will have to look at the own land, find a vision. They got to get a priority on definitely getting fields. I know soccer is kicking the shins out of the baseball association because I'm part of the baseball association, and that's fantastic. It's they're short dime, they're short fields, and I don't think the pump tracks can help the field situation either. So there's a major concern. So it's got to be a priority right when council gets in to try to find soccer some extra space.
Thank you, Michael. Matthew.
I think to ensure that developers contribute to community amenities rather than leaving the town to cover it. Development should enhance Crossfield, not compromise it. Better planning and budgeting through council, and then just look at other options. Come and get sponsorship from businesses and any other people.
Thank you, Matthew. Craig.
Yeah, I would agree that we need to do a needs analysis just to ensure that we have got the proper evaluation of some facilities. Because honestly, when I walk, and I do a lot of walking, I can tell you that some of the facilities don't really look to me like they're getting much usage over when you consider the period of the year. So I think once you look at that, is there a way to do some multi-use facilities? Could be one of them. And then also you could rank everything and decide, which would help give you an idea as to what would be your first priority in order to, when you have the money to do the future investment, and what would be best to invest in for the future in the new areas.
Thank you, Craig. Sean, how will you ensure the recreational spaces keep pace with community growth so programs can continue to thrive?
I know Luke and Mike both touched on this, is the Parks and Recs assessment that the town had done is to take and utilize that information along with, I think we also had an FCSS assessment done as well to help direct us in which direction we go. And we do have an agreement with Rockview Schools, but I think we need to push them more because it's not easy to get in there and get gym space, even though we do have an agreement with them. So if we, with the new trustee, if we could push them to help us make that more accessible to the public. And with the building of the new school, that will also bring more soccer fields with it as well. And that's all I have for now.
Great. Thank you, Sean. Logan, how will you ensure that recreational spaces keep pace with community growth so programs can continue to thrive?
It's really just planning and budgeting and keeping it as a priority on the list. I don't know about it, but Mike seems to mention that there's a recreational needs study, so following that would be super important. But yeah, it would just be planning for the future and keeping the recreational places proportional to population.
Thank you, Logan. Chantel, how will you ensure that recreational spaces keep pace with community growth so programs can continue to thrive?
I think recreation and sports are vital for not just my mental health, but the youth mental health. I think we have a lot of really great options. We have the arena, we have the gym in town, we have the curling rink and the curling club, but I think building on those facilities that we have would be a great option, and also connecting more with the bigger center like Airdrie, like bringing lacrosse in, bringing ringette in and using some of the ice time. Like I think there's more options than just building and spending when we have facilities here.
Thank you, Chantel. Justin.
This has been a big topic for current council and how we plan for the future with our rec facilities and programs. council and administration cannot do this on their own. We need collaboration with our community partners. And when I say community partners, I say, you know, whether it's businesses, developers, nonprofit groups, users, all of those above, and how we collaborate and use their resources to plan for the future. I think that's the only way we can do this. Definitely the current council, we've been working on rec, you know, a rec plan and how we can move forward.
Okay. Thank you, Justin. And Brian, how will you ensure the recreational spaces keep pace with community growth so that programs can continue to thrive?
I would say we should probably talk to soccer groups, baseball groups, supporters, and see if they can help us keep the cost down and go from there. If we have the area to use, hopefully we can find it and use it properly.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. Okay, we're going to do one more question and then move to our final closing remarks. So Lloyd, you will get to answer first on this question, and as I said, it will be our last one. How will you ensure that the heritage of Crossfield is promoted and preserved? Again, how will you ensure that the heritage of Crossfield is promoted and preserved?
Well, that's a good one. The heritage of Crossfield, I believe that it revolves around the night facilities, and that's what we got to do, is promote that and keep that in the forefront of our community, and see what we can gather from historical events and see whether we can keep that in our heritage. Thank you.
Thank you, Lloyd. Luke, how will you ensure that the heritage of Crossfield is promoted and preserved?
I think it kind of comes down to just highlighting the certain events and aspects of this community that, highlighting the community events that are part of this community's history, like the rodeo, Pete Night Days rodeo, the parade they throw, incorporating some of those elements that you would think of in a small town into the way that we're building. And yeah, I don't know, that's a tricky one.
Okay. Thank you, Luke. Michael.
Well, funny thing, some of the history and heritage actually ties to my family name on the arena, actually. So I don't see myself advocating anytime soon to put a business name over that for an extra $2 or $3 million. I think I'll just keep that there for a while. Luke just said it's really important, the rodeo. And I think one thing I want to talk on when we have this topic is there's never enough volunteers to keep events like these rolling. We need to keep, and there's an importance of the rodeo to the town. Like the Elks have a derby, the demolition derby, which is good. The rodeo society has a rodeo, but the maintaining of that event and the importance of attending the event, and I think the pancake breakfasts that are in here, they're all fantastic things. I like that entire event. The Pete Night Rodeo Days is fantastic. I think those are good things, but I think we got to pay attention that we don't grow the town too fast, and that's when that'll get out of control. So if we grow with sustainable growth and a proper vision, that'll stay. That culture will stay with the town.
Thank you, Michael. Matthew.
To me, heritage means neighbours knowing each other, local businesses being supported, and having a community where people feel safe and connected. Preserving it doesn't mean rejecting growth, it means being intentional with it. Developing Main Street with more locally owned stores, supporting community events, ensuring we have green space and walkable neighbourhoods are ways we can grow while staying true to what makes Crossfield special.
Thank you, Matthew. Craig.
Yeah, I think that means different things to different people for sure. Like the heritage to us, like when we moved here, like Crossfield was a small town, and the really interesting part of it was being able to just walk a short distance, watch the parade, get involved in all the things and things that were around the rodeo, as well as the breakfast and all those things. I think you could probably also, I think there's a book, if I remember right, that does have some history in it. And I remember a friend of mine telling me about it. But I think you could draw some of that stuff in there and kind of dovetail it into one of your existing peak night days, or even have something alongside it.
Thank you, Craig. Sean, how will you ensure that the heritage of Crossfield is promoted and preserved?
That's another good question, because not a lot of people know why Crossfield's here. It's here because of the Canadian Pacific Railway, and was established. The name it was from a CPR surveyor years ago, and so just trying to keep, that kind of the heritage of, the railway sort of aesthetic for Main Street, not like current sort of stuff, but there was a young lady who developed a steam engine that was in front of the town office for a while, and that was a good representation of how Crossfield came to be, and get something more like that. And Craig mentioned that there is a book out there that will give you the history and heritage of pretty much the entire area. It's called Prairie Rod and Golden Sod. It's a good read if you want to know about the history of Crossfield and area. And other than that is, I guess my time's up.
Okay, thank you, Sean. Logan, how will you ensure that the heritage of Crossfield is promoted and preserved?
I think the small town feel of Crossfield when we're here is the heritage of this town, and I think it needs preserving. Keeping this town feeling like a small town as long as we can as it continues to grow. That means something different to everybody, whether it's wider roads, mature trees, large green parks. I think we need to focus on what keeps Crossfield feeling like a small town and really lean into it.
Thank you, Logan. Chantel, how will you ensure the heritage of Crossfield is promoted and preserved?
I think that there's a lot of great heritage in Crossfield. I know there's a lot of local people that volunteer their time. There's that grave site that somebody's cleaning up. They're pretty active on there. That seems to be pretty deeply rooted in the community. Just helping, volunteering with that would be a good way to keep that story going. I think also talking to the older generations from Crossfield. There's a lot of people here that have lived here a long time. Maybe a meet and greet with them, and they can talk to the younger generations or get them involved in the school to talk about how things used to be. The Pete Night Days has its own following. It's a pretty big thing, and I don't think I'd change too much about that because that's like Crossfield Christmas, I guess. But just keeping people engaged and talking about the heritage would be the best.
Thank you, Chantel. Justin.
I think everybody's kind of touched on the same points that I'm going to just mention. Encouraging our seniors to share their stories and be part of the events whenever we have them during the year, whether it's a community fest or Pete Night Days. Encourage our seniors all the time. I know that I came from a small farming community as well. I didn't live in town, but we want to keep this small town feel as long as we can as well. And I think heritage is more than just the events that we put on during the year. It's the way we live our lives currently in town, and help our neighbors out. So continue to help your neighbors out whenever you can, whenever they do need help. Hopefully that will preserve our heritage.
Thank you, Justin. Brian, how will you ensure that the heritage of Crossfield is promoted and preserved?
The heritage for Crossfield, you can promote it more. I think the rodeo does a good job on its own. And also the other person that I think does a great job on the heritage of Crossfield is James from Crossfield. If you look on Facebook, he's got his own page there. and he gets a lot of the elderly people coming to him with pictures and items that are really neat to see and understand the history of where Crossfield came from and the people that were in it. But I think staying honest and respectful to each other would also work as well.
Thank you, Brian. And Dawn, how will you ensure that the heritage of Crossfield is promoted and preserved?
We already do a good job of, I think, preserving our heritage by street naming. We keep all of the old farm families' names on all of the streets. And, you know, I do love the calendar that the Rocky View Lodge puts out of the old men. I love that calendar, and I think that promotes our community as well. We have to keep our culture a small knit community that with our neighbors, and the walkability of Crossfield it's just the best. Like, I think that is the heritage and culture of Crossfield, and how to preserve that. We have to keep that same walkability of Crossfield and keep our tight-knit community.
Thank you. Thank you, Dawn. All right, so that's conclude the question and answer session. We're now going to move into our final closing comments. We're going to go in reverse order from where we went to begin with, which means Matthew, you've got the first crack, and Craig, you will be last, and everybody in between. So, Craig, sorry, Matthew, it's late night, we're getting there. Matthew. Cheers.
As I mentioned, this isn't about politics for me. It's about people and doing what's right for our community. If elected, I will commit to clear and consistent communication with residents through monthly coffee meetings, newsletters, and online updates, so your voices are heard and your concerns are addressed. My vision for Crossfield starts with listening to residents and ensuring their priorities guide our decisions. That means holding developers accountable, maintaining and improving our roads and infrastructure, protecting our wetlands, developing a vibrant main street, and keeping the small town charm that makes Crossfield unique. By prioritising projects, seeking grants, and partnering with local organisations, we can achieve these goals responsibly and without placing undue burden on taxpayers. And I'll never lose sight of supporting our youth by investing in programs, mentorship, and safe spaces. We're building the next generation of leaders who will help our town thrive. I'm not here for headlines or empty promises. I'm here to listen, engage, and to deliver results with integrity, respect, accountability together. We can keep Crossfield strong, connected, and a place where we're all proud to call home. Thank you, and I'll be honoured to gain your support.
Next speaker is Michael.
Again, just want to thank everyone for attending and the 13 people online right now. I do want to thank the 10 other brave people because they're going to get their feet to the fire. It'll be super funny if all the 6 of us that get in here. It'll be good and exciting. I was elected in the May 2021 by-election, kind of where I started in this journey. My time as an active councillor at Alberta municipalities and the FCM has kind of grown me into a far better councillor. I think I'm a pretty good asset for the town. I'd say I'm pretty useful. I do know that I've still been reaching out to like the Golden Key Club and the Seniors Lodges. I'm looking to still reach out and talk to some more people. I'm always available, and I'm not just available during this time of voting. Like, my council email comes back and forth. Councillor night at Crossfield, Alberta, reach out. I think whatever you have to do, vote. Voting's important. Like, and I know the last time we did this, like 400 people voted. Let's get the numbers into the 1,000, like 1,000 or 1,500 people. Let's show that the information that happens here and the knowledge back and forth is important. So, you know, vote on October the 9th here at the hall, 4 to 8. It's also October the 20th, 10 to 8. There'll be white little ballots. There'll be an area where it says vote Mike Knight. I'd be dumb not to say don't put a check mark there, but I'd appreciate it if you did. So, no, I think there's a lot of important things, and I think everyone here has raised some fantastic concerns, and I want to thank Mr. Rogers for putting his time in and all the staff here that have put their work in here. Thanks, everyone.
Luke, you are next up.
Well, that was the most stressful job interview ever. In my 2.3 decades of living in Crossfield, there has been a lot of changes. I'm dedicated to helping grow Crossfield while balancing and preserving those things that make this the town we have all chosen to call home. In my opinion, no decision is ever to be taken lightly when talking about a place we all rely on. There were countless choices that I made, all with Crossfield's best interests in mind. I really enjoyed my time on council, and I've never felt more connected to the community than I have this last term. I didn't know what to expect going into it 4 years ago, and to say it was a learning curve would be an understatement. It was a lot of time, but time very well invested for a chance to play a small part in helping grow and shape a community that helped grow and shape who I am today. But looking to the future now with a deeper understanding of the role, I am nothing but excited by the opportunity to continue helping Crossfield grow. If I'm elected for a second term, since I can't promise anyone a pool, what I will promise is to continue using my vote to help get the best bang for our buck. Change is inevitable, but let's try and make it change we will all be happy with and put Crossfield first always. Also, I want to thank you and everyone that's here and watching online and at home. It shows there are a lot of people that really care about this town. I want to thank the host for taking on this big task, and to the folks from town admin who put this on for everyone. And thank you, most importantly, good luck to all the candidates to my left who've stepped up to support our community. Thank you.
And our next speaker is Lloyd.
First of all, I'd like to thank Mediator Bob for his presentations and help with the panel. The session was very informative and enjoyable, in fact. I support safe communities, looking forward to seeing new business and seeing the new school in Vista develop. I wish all the candidates success in the council election on the 20th. I'd like to see all those in attendance this evening and those at home on YouTube. I'd like to thank everybody. Whatever the outcome might be, I want to thank those who support me in the election of the Council of Crossfield. Finally, I want to thank my wife and family and for their support. Thank you.
And our next speaker is Dawn.
Thank you all for joining us tonight at this forum and sharing your passion for our town's future. Your voices will be the ones driving our decisions, and if you vote for me, I will make it my priority to listen to your voices while advocating on town council for your priorities and interests. While we can't always have what we want or need, wouldn't it be nice to know that while you pay your taxes, you have voted for the most capable and responsible people that will make the right choices with your money? That's what a vote for me will mean: responsible, invested, and accountable with your interests in mind. My hope is to preserve our wonderful small town while also helping to shape the decisions crucial to balance our development and growth with thoughtful planning. If elected, I look forward to representing you, the people of Crossfield, and hope to engage with all the residents to find practical solutions that will benefit everyone for years to come. Please feel free to connect with me after the forum. I will be out and about in the neighborhoods, knocking on doors, waiting to hear from everyone. And I want to hear what you love about Crossfield and what you think we need to improve on. I'm always approachable and willing to listen. Thank you.
Next up is Brian.
As you can tell, I'm a little new at this, so it's a learning experience for me, but I would like to thank you all for your time and your questions tonight, as well as I'd like to thank all of you people on the front board here for sticking in on what you're doing, all the re-election or re-elected people and the new people that are trying to form a council. I'm ready to serve. I'm ready to hear you. And anytime you want to talk, most Fridays I'm at Shorty's in the diner. Otherwise, I do believe the town has my phone number on record. You can give me a text, a phone call. I'm willing to listen, and hopefully we can get some stuff going for you. Thanks.
And Justin.
Before I start my final comments, I just want to thank all of my council members that I've enjoyed the last 4 years being on council with them. It's been just a pleasure. I just want to give a shout out to Luke. I am so proud of you, of how you've grown and the person that you've become and the passion you have for our town. I wish every young person would be like that. So again, thanks, Luke. You inspire me as well. So thank you. My objective, if elected for council over the next 4 years, is to commit to a collaborative teamwork that supports responsible growth for the residents. I intend to maintain transparency and accountability between town administration, council, and the residents. As you can tell, or we've being on council right now and working towards our budget control and improved fiscal management is one of our goals. Input from the community is vital for shaping Crossfield's future. Resident engagement will help develop a sustainable plan for the community's development. I am available to listen to priorities and concerns and encourage open communications. This collaborative approach aims to ensure Crossfields remains a vibrant and inclusive town. Thank you for your time. Have a good evening.
Chantal.
So if you would have told me 5 years ago I'd be standing up here to tell you why you should vote for me, I would laugh at you. I just want to finish by saying that I may not have all the answers that you guys wanted for those questions, and sometimes I might not have exactly what you're looking for, but if elected, I promise to work with my fellow council members and find the best solutions for Crossfield and its residents. I'll listen actively and openly and respectfully. I am really passionate about respectful dialogue. I think that's really important. And I'll work for you and your families and for my own family. We all love this town and we all call it home. So I just want to thank you for taking the time to be here tonight, to listen, take part in shaping our community. And most importantly, I think it's really important that you guys get out and vote. It's October 20th, so yeah, thank you very much.
Logan.
I promise I'm much more charismatic in person. Thank you all for attending, and thank you so much to the other candidates for stepping up to run for council. I wish you all the best of luck. I know there are likely more entertaining places and things to do on a Wednesday night, but instead you're here doing your part to be an informed voter. If anyone would like to connect, my number is available on the town's website. Thank you. Have a great night.
Sean.
First and foremost, I would like to thank every one of you for being here tonight. It's great to see you all out. Wish there were more of you. And thank you to everybody online. And to the organizers for putting on a really good show. It's a lot of hard work, and I think you need to be acknowledged. I'm not here with an agenda. I'm here for Crossfield. and I want to see Crossfield keep its small town feel while growing responsibly. And I'd also like to thank Kim. She's been a great mentor in getting through all this. And my other counselors, same thing, they've been great. And I'd like to thank all the other candidates for coming out. It's great to see that we have this much interest this time around in people running for council. I am really enthusiastic about that. And I'm just here for Crossfield, and my information again is on town website. Thank you.
And Craig.
Thank you. Crossfield is a great community with some unique spaces with a small town feel. As the community has grown, the need for strong leadership is more important. Residents want a council to be the gatekeeper to ensure the community needs are looked after, present and future. Expense control must be the cornerstone of our organization as it'll rise over time due to inflation. Proper controls will allow us to have the flexibility to address many more of the outstanding needs. We need to rank the things that people use in the community to ensure we prioritize our spending. Many expenditures are large, and missteps can also have a lasting effect. Ensuring we get lasting value from our spend is paramount. Our council must challenge and use critical thinking while working with and supporting management and staff. In my last position, I worked and managed people from all walks of life and all ages. Our staff deserve to work in an environment where they are treated with the dignity and respect that they deserve. There are many things that need to be dealt with in our community that make it a safer place to live. The North Crosswalks, there are near misses there each week. Proper signage in the parks and pathways, more visible policing, speed control on residential streets, restricted access to large vehicles and redirect them to lower impact routes, lighting on pathways and at the dog park, and education for children on electric scooters. Just imagine if every kid has a 70-kilometer-an-hour scooter zipping around town. These are a sample of the things that need to be addressed, and of course there's many more. The next council has the opportunity to make a difference in the lives of the residents. Thank you for the opportunity to present my thoughts. I look forward to serving you in the community. Thanks to the fellow people running for this. Thanks to you folks for being here. Thanks to the folks on air. And last but not least, thanks, Bob.
Well, that brings an end to the formal comments from our candidates. So thank you to all of our candidates. I don't know if it rises to the level of marathon, but maybe it felt a little bit like it. And you've all done wonderfully well. We appreciate your service. And tonight is absolutely part of the service that you are giving to the town of Crossfield. And so you are thanked for it. So thank you. Thank you also to everyone in the audience for coming and participating. It's not nearly as much fun to have these conversations to an empty room. So your presence makes a massive difference, and we thank you for being here. As we conclude, we encourage everybody to continue learning about the candidates, reflect on the issues discussed tonight, and exercise your right to vote in the upcoming election. The advance vote, as was mentioned earlier, is on October the 9th from 4 to 8 p.m. at the Crossfield Community Center, so right here. Election Day, October 20th, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., also in this location. Please remember to bring ID, a picture showing your name and address. Thank you for coming. Have a safe journey home. We'll see you at the voting day. Thank you, Craig. Appreciate your service. Sean, thank you for your service. Thank you both.
Tunnel vision. My hands are cold.
My hands aren't cold, they're all sweaty.